Great time of the day, holistic developers. Today we're going to talk about bugs. Yes, you heard me right, about bugs. And in particular, those will be software bugs, or as well known as computer bugs. So, if you are a software developer, a technical person, a QA, or just a person working in any industry, you are affected by bugs, you want it or not, because in the world that we are living today, everything practically is run in one way or another on an application, on a software, and there are unfortunately bugs in the applications that are out there. In this video, I'll address some of the questions that are most Googled, such as what is a software bug? Can be software bugs dangerous? Can a software be bug free? What else was it searched? What is a software bug fix? Why does software have bugs? How often do bugs occur? And there are many more questions related to software bugs, but I will keep it to those ones. And before we go and dive into this, I thought, okay, I have to tell you why I decided to do this video today. For a while now, I was brainstorming, okay, what should I talk about in my next video? What should I talk about? Something that is relevant and something that will be interested to a large population, let's say that, will be relevant for a lot of you. And I was brainstorming different ideas, and an idea will come up and then we'll say, no, maybe it will be interesting for one group of people, another idea for another group of people. So I was trying to come up with something that will be entertaining and valuable and informative for a lot of people. So this morning when I got up, I did my morning routine. I go and get my phone, and suddenly I'm not able to use my phone because it is not turning on. Actually, after taking a moment and trying to analyze the situation, I saw that my phone was on because I saw the sidebar that I have, so I was able to move my sidebar, but the screen was black, nothing was happening. And I have a newer phone, right? It's the last year generation phone, right? Came out at the end of the year. So I was like, okay, what's going on? And it doesn't have a hard key, right? A physical key that will restart or turn off my phone. So it's a soft key that you have to press to turn it off. And obviously you can do a combination of keys to turn your phone off, but I never had to do that. I didn't know what to do. And I tried many different options to figure out what's going on. I could not go out of the application. I didn't get any buttons or anything to work, and my screen was just black and just having different lines. It's like, what's up with that? My phone is new. It's a really good condition. I just had it for a few months, and like, what's happening, right? And then as I was scrolling through the sidebar, that's the only thing that was working. I was saying that Bixby is not installed on my phone or something like that, and by that you can deduct that my phone is a Samsung phone. And then I remembered that last night before going to bed, I by accident I invoked the Bixby menu, which I never use it, and immediately locked my phone because I didn't want to use it. I just put it there and I left it like this. And this morning I was not able to use it. So my software engineer mind thinks that the problem was that I didn't get out of the Bixby menu, lock the phone, and that caused or got in the state where the bug existed. So long story short, I was able to restart my phone. It works well. And today I was sitting down and looking at what are some of the most known bugs, and I was surprised there are a lot of them. They often happen and so on. So I will get to those in just a moment. First, let's answer the question, what are bugs? And I could probably tell you from my own definition what bugs are, but I'll address to my good friend Google and ask him what it is. Okay, Google, what is a software bug?
Here's a summary from Wikipedia. A software bug is an error, flaw, or fault in a computer program or system that causes it to produce an incorrect or unexpected result, or to behave in unintended ways.
Okay, so basically, when you write software, something unintentionally is introduced in the application, in the system, in the software, that as a result is not working as expected, and it might crash or it might do something that is unexpected, right? So to answer the following question, are all software bugs dangerous? No, I will say no. There are different levels, different severity of bugs, right? There are critical bugs, there are medium bugs, and I would say low bugs or annoyance bugs, I say. So critical bugs will be something that is really critical for the application. Let's say if you're using a phone and you're not able to use it, you cannot make a phone call, you cannot use any application that are supposed to be on the phone. Obviously that is critical for that application. It might be the bugs are depending on in the industry where you are, right? If you are in medicine and you're introducing a bug in the medical device or something like that, that might harm people, right? That's definitely dangerous. So it depends on the industry, it depends on what it affects, but kind of the kind of in that shell, there are really dangerous bugs that might affect lives of people, the likelihood of people, but there are also bugs that are considered critical, not dangerous. They are critical because it stops you from doing something, right? It's not behaving as it should. Something that is medium is like you can do what you need, like you can accomplish the task that you're looking to accomplish, but you cannot do it in a simple, straightforward way. You might have to work around it. So that's kind of a medium bug. And a low bug is something that it's there, it's annoying, but you can live for a while with it. You can kind of just ignore it. So yeah, that's kind of there are different levels of bugs. Definitely there are dangerous bugs and there are different bugs that are really not so bad. And from early on, when I started to learn about bugs and life cycle of a software development application and so on, I learned something that it stuck with me for a very long time, is that software will always have bugs. You want that or you don't want. It's an I cannot pronounce again the word. Un, um, un, you cannot prevent it, let's say that. You cannot, you might have your best interest in mind. You want to write the software bug free, but unintentionally they are happening. So why do software engineering bugs occur? Why there are computer bugs, or why there are bugs in the system that might cause the application to crash, the system to crash, or anything like that? They occur in the cases where they are a misunderstanding of something that needs to be implemented in any of the following stages. It can be from the moment when the requirements are gathered, and the design phase, and the implementation phase, or in the phase where it actually was already deployed. It might be something there that might cause a bug as well. So it can be of any of those stages. And what is kind of really interesting about it is that the sooner you find the bug, the cheaper it will be. So imagine that you are developing the bug and you discovered it. Well, it will be cheaper to fix it now versus having it being deployed to the customer production server or live server, right? And they start to use it. And in that case, yes, you will fix it and you will think, oh, if you fix it 10 days ago or now, the fix is the same, so why it's more expensive? The expensive, it's not related or tied to the fact of how much time you will spend to fix it. It's more about kind of the damage that does to your company, to your credibility, and everything and all of the above, right? So maybe the time you spend on fixing the bug will be the same regardless when you find it, or might be not, because if it's a bug that is corrupting your data, the longer it exists in your system, the harder it will be to fix it. So there are different levels of bug, right? Something that will corrupt your data, or something that is there just is like aesthetically incorrect or something like that, right? So there are different levels, right? So if I were to give you an example of bugs, it will be that, like for my example, I was at a startup. Like for us, startup is when we have a new company and that is starting to use our product, our software, and we are on site to be there to help and transition to our new software, to the use of the software. And obviously at that times you start to use something that was probably never used before, or in those cases you're actually using the system from start to end. And long story short, our application is a multilingual application, and we were in a country where the application was used in a different language. And the users were reporting that the application is not working. And we could see that in the logs that it's not working. We could see that it's crashing. It was not crashing, but it was not behaving as it was supposed to behave. So we started to look at that, trying to reproduce it, and it worked for us just fine. And we, as software developers, we were a few in the room there trying to figure out what's going on, and started to talk with the user. It's like, okay, what are you doing? And at that time, we realized that the user is using the application in that language, and we are using in a different language, and we were not able to reproduce a problem. As soon as we kind of narrowed that down, we realized that the problem relies on the fact somewhere in some level with the language we are using. Long story short, what was happening, it was that in the URL, we are building the URL from different pieces depending on how you're using the application. And because the user was in French, the URL was having bits and pieces with French words in it. Obviously our application didn't know that, because we stored the information in one language and then we translate it as needed on the UI, right? So then we realized, okay, that's the problem, we'll fix it. But see, long story short is that the application didn't it was something unintended, that when the developer worked on that, he didn't say, oh, I don't want that to work for French or something like that. It was just something that it's in oversight, let's say that. And why do the bugs exist in software is because usually when a software developer writes a software, even if he knows and understands the domain or what he's developing or she develops, it's that we have in mind the best interest, like, okay, how this will work, how do we program this feature, how we implement this in such a way that it will work, right? Often we are thinking about how to make it work now, not how to break it. And that's kind of one of the many reasons why software can have bugs, because we have the best interest in mind to make this work. And we should, as developers, stop and think, okay, what are the edge cases? What are the scenarios? What might break this, and so on. So if we do that, we can minimize the number of bugs that we have in the software. But I don't think there's possible ever, in my opinion, to write software without bugs. If it's a tiny piece of software, possibly it can be bug-free. But if it's a complex, big software, I think there anyways will be bugs, maybe low severity, but there will exist bugs. That's just my view on this. I don't think it's possible to have bug-free software. Again, it depends on the implementation, right, and the desired scope, right? It's like, because sometimes the application might be used not within the scope it was developed, and people say, oh, that's buggy. In reality, it's not designed yet or not developed yet to that scope. So in that case, it's not a bug, it's a flaw in the design, or is not implemented yet because it's not at that level yet. If the application doesn't crash or doesn't do something unexpected, right? So those are kind of a few things. So what is the origin of software bugs? This concept dates many years ago. It started to be used. I think it started to first time it was the concept was used by Ada Lovelace in her writing, and then later on it was found in one of the letters of Tom Edison, and actually in that case he actually used the word bug in his letters, and later the actual word started to be used more heavily by Grace Hopper because her team found a moth in the computer itself, and they actually taped the moth to their research paper and said that that was what was causing the bug. And since then, that term started to be more popular and used. And when something is not working as expected, then say, let's debug something, like let's see what are the bugs. So yeah, those are a few questions that I wanted to answer. And I actually checked what are the most well-known bugs in the software. And obviously, I'm sure all of you heard about 2YK. All of you heard about so many other, like the AT&T crash that it had. And I was scrolling around and I saw one bug that iPhone had. It was that if you send specific characters in text, that will make the application crash. And today, as I was doing the research, I actually found like 1 day old post, Verge post, that says, again, it was proven that iPhone phones will crash when you send text with specific characters. So even though that bug was found and fixed a while ago, a few years ago, now it happens again. The moral of the story is that bugs exist in software. I think they will continue to exist. And what can we do as software developers is to make sure that we understand the requirements before we start to write the software. During the time when we write the software, if we have questions, we answer them. If it happens that the application, the software was implemented with bugs, that bug is found as soon as possible, because the opposite would be that a bug, if it's living in your code for a long time, it might become a feature. And that's something that I could talk about later on, because we had cases where bugs that existed in the software became features of some customers. What QA can do about this is their job, practically, if we were to describe this in a few words, is just to make sure that the application or the software that they are supposed to test, they have to have something in mind to think about it. How do I break this, right? And as people, when we use software and we find something that is not working, then we should report that, because if we report it, we'll give a chance to people to fix it, and the population might not run into that problem as well. And there are a lot of memes related to bugs, but there's one that sounds like, oh, I have only 97 bugs left to fix. One fixed and 133 more to be fixed, or something like that. So hopefully you will have a bug-free experience. Thank you for staying until the end. It means a lot for me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. If you want to support me, make sure to like this video. There is the button for that, specifically just for that. Make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you know what to do. You just have to click on that red button. You can see it from far away. Just click it. Make sure that you click the notification bell as well, so you will get notified when I drop the new videos that are related to software engineering lifestyle, tech related stuff. And yeah, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, there's a space beneath the video where you can drop question, comments, and anything else. Yeah, hopefully you had something that was useful from watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.